Okay, this next set does not necessarily come from Ku Lo Wing Chun. It's not a set that I learned originally and have modified. I've basically come up with it myself, but from training in Ip Man Wing Chun, traditional Wing Chun, this motion is in there. It's part of the dummy form. It's an important motion. I just chose to break it out and make it one of my sansik for what I do. So I just call it Gan Sau in the spirit of some of the other sets. You saw previous lesson was Lan Q, which was a bridging past an obstruction, used to Bu Sau. This is, I think of it as Gan Sau because it's a bridge. It's using mainly a Gan Sau as the primary technique. So, you can call it anything you want. But the idea here is this double Gan Sau motion that everybody has done in their Wing Chun dummy, right? It's back and forth. And I'm using my Wing Chun boxing dynamic, so I'm pivoting like I do in Wing Chun boxing. So I do a 1, 2, 3 is the basic. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now I'll notice one thing. When I'm cycling this, my front hand comes in front and the back hand comes around. Sometimes in Wing Chun it's done this way, where the hand will cycle from behind, like this. I'm doing it in front, like this. And I'll show you why in a minute. So again, from the side, you can, sometimes done in Wing Chun is this way. But I'm doing it for my purposes this way. Okay. This version is closely related to the Fuk Fu set. You want to go back and review the lesson I did on the Fuk Fu or subduing tiger. The Fuk Fu was like this. And so obviously if I straighten this motion out, it becomes that Gan Sau motion. It cycles the same way. This inner circular motion, the Fuk Sau motion, if I extend it into a Gan Sau, it's very similar. It becomes kind of the same thing. But I'm doing it differently. I'm cycling in front, like so. Okay? So that's the basic. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then I add to it, I add a Fuk Fu element. Remember the Fuk Fu kind of comes this way, but it can also cycle into an arm lock, a trap. So I like to put that at the end. 1, 2, 3, snap. 1, 2, 3, snap. 1, 2, 3, snap. 1, 2, 3. So this would be catching a wide swinging blow and then coming up as an elbow lock. Catching that wide swinging blow or shooting through and coming all the way around as a shoulder lock. Catching that wide swinging blow, shooting through, back of the head, below the elbow, and a head spinning throw. There's a number of things that come off of that kind of subduing tiger. It means to subdue, to trap something. I include that element into this motion. So I catch it with my Gan Sau, and then I've got him however I want to do with him. Spin throw, lock an arm. With my partner later, I'll show you that. So that's essentially how I do the set. 1, 2, 3, pow. 1, 2, 3, pow. 1, 2, 3, pow. Now I can give it a Sup Ji Choi flavor too. Remember, the Sup Ji Choi was this way, where it's cross-shaped punch, either like this or like this. So go back and review that video. So I got 1, 2, and then as I come across 3, I turn that into the Sup Ji, the cross shape. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I usually use a little step. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So again, I've caught his arm. I've stopped that swinging punch. I've caught it. And then as I'm turning, I'm pinning his arm, I'm turning him into him, and this hand is going against his shoulder, so boom, I'm throwing him away. I catch the punch, I toss him away. I catch his punch, I toss him away. Catch the punch, toss him away. He swings at me, I've caught this punch, and as I'm pivoting back, I'm pinning that arm, and I'm pushing him away. So I caught the punch, using that the Sup Ji Choi, same concept from that set, to kind of create space off of this motion, right? From here, boom. So that's how I blend those two together. So, why the crossing in the front? It's interesting. Several years back, Mark Denny of Dog Brothers fame came out with a video based on a workshop he did that was common sense defenses against knife attacks, and he was going to unveil the secret technique that he called the dog catcher, because it's the Dog Brothers. And when I finally bought the tape, oh, what's this dog catcher? It was this motion from Wing Chun, because it creates a funnel. So his idea was, somebody's attacking, kind of that sewing machine kind of attack with a knife, you can stop it, because you don't know if he's going to go high or going to go low. I create this funnel, this wedge here. I can catch it with this arm or this arm, funnel it to the center, and kind of gain some control of his arm. If he's pumping it, I just keep meeting it until I can finally get a hold of his arm and control him. Because with a knife, you gotta control the weapon arm. I don't care if you call that chasing hands or not. That is critical, or you're dead. And so that was the idea. And when I get my partner, I'll show you. This was the dog catcher from Dog Brothers Martial Arts. You catch it, catch it, catch it until you can get a hold of him, which is essentially what I'm doing with this set. Now, this comes out of a Filipino martial arts drill that's been around, and most people know it that's done Filipino martial arts. It's a passing drill. And so the passing drill was, I meet something, I pass it across, boom, I can pick it up on this side, pass it across, boom, and I pick it up on this side. Or one guy's feeding the knife, I have a knife, I'm blocking with this hand, he feeds the knife, I block, I parry it down, then I feed the knife, and he blocks and parries it down, and he feeds the knife. But it's this motion. And so Mark, looking at that empty hand, said, well, why not put those together instead of doing them apart? Then it becomes, guess what? The same thing. But it's important to cycle in front because you got to control that arm. And the same way, even if they're empty hand, the idea is I've caught something, I'm cycling forward because I want to control his arm against his body. And if I do this, I've surrendered control of that arm. The minute I've stopped it and I pull my arms back to go to the other side, I've lost control of his arm. I do this and I press into him as I turn. So if I stopped it, if I was making a punch, I'd be forcing his arm down against his body with the other Gan Sau and hit him through, right? It would be boom, boom, pop, pop. Or on this side, catch it. And if I pull my hand back to do this, I've lost control. Boom, pin the arm, punch through. So, show you on my pole dummy, same idea. I'm here, and when I go to the Gan Sau, see how I'm pressing down? I spin it to the other side. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, and I gotta press forward. That keeps that from engaging. If this was a knife, and I didn't use that forward pressure, if I pulled my hand back, then I'd get slashed right across the abdomen. That forward pressure, pressing forward, is what keeps that from engaging my abdomen, being able to slice me. So I'm pinning it forward. That's why when I look at this motion, I don't do it this way, because I see it as so important to control that arm, to pin. Once I've engaged, boom, engaged, and this arm is pinning. So I can punch through, so I can do something else, or just to transition. But it's always going to track that arm and stay stuck to his arm. The minute I do this and pull my hand back, I've lost contact with his arm. So that's how I see this motion, this double Gan Sau motion, and that's how I put it into a set.